Today we get another reminder that a firearm is a tool of last resort. Hi everyone, this is John with today's active self-protection lesson out of Las Vegas. Shows us a robbery by a bunch of stupid kids that turns into a defensive gun use where the owner of the shop is going to be charged with murder. Teaches us some important lessons about transitional spaces, about what an objective deadly threat actually is, and reminds us again that a firearm is only a tool of last resort. So what we see first is these kids are going to come into this store and they decide to rob it. These are 3 middle school kids, everyone. And they run in here to try to grab some stuff out of this smoke shop. And you see the one kid on the right grabs some stuff. The kid on the left starts to grab some stuff and the owner is armed and he shoots this kid 7 times. Now that kid never made it any farther than immediately at the counter. We see another angle as he draws the gun and starts shooting. You know, the camera is not very fast and it only picks up about 5 of them, but he shoots him 7 times, including in the back. And now he's going to go take some follow-up actions. Grabbed his phone from the floor that he dropped, calls 911, tells him that he was in fear for his life, and this one's over. Now, this man has been charged with murder, and I want to show you why, and very particularly under Nevada statute, but under any statute as well. You got to have an honest, reasonable fear of grievous bodily harm or death. Now, as these kids are coming in, we want to talk about transitional spaces. This is a retail store, and so these kind of attacks can happen very quickly. These kids had intent to steal. So, you know, when you are in a retail store like this, you got to recognize people are going to use the door to launch surprise attacks, and that's exactly what these boys did, to try to go and steal a pipe or something. You know, this is a smoke shop. Now, I want to notice that as this kid comes in, as soon as the door opened, this guy has his gun out. Now, we might say that a defensive display of a firearm might be okay here if he had reason to believe that these kids might have been armed robbers, but we notice that I can't see any armament on them. It's because they're unarmed. So you can say, wait a minute, I was in fear for my life, but that fear has to be reasonable, particularly in Nevada statutes where this one happened. Bare fear is not enough. You have to have reasonable fear. There has to be evidence that there's a threat of grievous bodily harm. And there wasn't in this instance. Next, what I want to see here, though, is that you can see that he shoots him here in the back. And some people say, well, why would he shoot him in the back? Well, you notice once he started shooting, that kid turned. And so that shot went into his back, not because he wanted to shoot him in the back necessarily, but because after he started shooting and the kid turned around and shots were still coming fast enough that one of them went into his back. That's how that happens sometimes. Now, as this guy is coming here, and one of the things that we can see, and this is probably one of the reasons that they decided to charge him, is that this idea of preclusion. Could this man have done something else rather than shoot? You can see he definitely could have slid to his right or left to gain himself some more time to assess what was going on, to see if he truly had a deadly threat. But instead, he shoots multiple times very quickly. And because this kid was not armed, because there wasn't any evidence that he was armed, instead, this guy is going to be charged with murder. Now, he got on the phone immediately afterward as well. That was a good idea. As soon as things stop, you know, as soon as the threat ends, you got to get on the phone with 911. You got to make sure that your story is the first one heard. So let's learn the lessons out of this one, everybody. Please make sure that you understand what the standard of lethal force is. It's not just bare fear. It's reasonable fear. Everything has to pass through the lens of imminence, innocence, proportionality, avoidance, and reasonableness. And if you don't do all of those, you could get charged with murder like this man is. Let's not do that. Let's only use deadly force when it's appropriate to cover our asp.